Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers of all time, reigned as Roman emperor from 161 to 180 AD. He was the last ruler of a lineage later known as the Five Good Emperors. Holding one of the world's most powerful positions, he could have indulged in any temptation or desire, yet he chose to dedicate his life to fairness and justice. During his reign, Aurelius found time to pen a series of autobiographical writings now known as the Meditations, which has become a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. In this work, Aurelius provides guidance on self-improvement, emphasizing the importance of adopting a cosmic perspective and critically analyzing one's judgments of oneself and others. As leader of a powerful empire that faced multiple wars during his rule, Aurelius employed his Stoic philosophy to manage stress and worries, enabling him to serve as an exemplary and reliable leader. Stoicism, an ancient and highly acclaimed philosophy, transcends mere theory. It offers a truly inspiring approach to thinking and living. The Stoics firmly believed that doing the right thing was the key to individual happiness, and that achieving this required sound judgment and clear rational thinking. Therefore, in this video, we will explore 5 crucial lessons from Marcus Aurelius' teachings that can help you cultivate a rational mind and enhance your clarity of thought. Before we delve into the lessons, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your subscription is invaluable, as it encourages us to continue producing more insightful videos. Click the Become a Member button to show your support. Marcus Aurelius famously stated, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed, don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." One of the core tenets of Stoicism is taking control of your perception. We tend to judge everything we encounter, assigning value judgments to events, experiences, and people. We label them as bad, good, boring, fun, beautiful, or ugly without realizing the exhausting and detrimental impact this practice can have on our lives. For instance, judging every interaction you have on a particularly challenging day as awful only reinforces the negative perception of that day. Similarly, labeling a party you attended as boring reduces it to a single, uneventful aspect of your week. Often, our initial judgments are influenced by our emotions, making them less than rational. Furthermore, our inclination to judge every moment of our lives often coincides with a tendency to use metaphors and hyperboles that exaggerate situations. For example, upon experiencing a breakup, you might say your ex broke your heart, rather than acknowledging the fundamental fact that their romantic feelings have changed. This exaggerated language shapes our emotional response. It is not the actual event that causes our negative feelings, but rather our unconscious choice to perceive it in a particular way. In contrast, Stoicism encourages mindful judgment, challenging us to carefully evaluate our experiences and actions. One way to cultivate this mindfulness is to consciously undo our judgments, essentially looking beyond them. Instead of relying on your first instinct, strive to judge situations through a more optimistic and reasonable lens. For instance, reframe that boring party as an opportunity to explore a new place and meet new people. By adopting this approach, you can transform your perception and enhance your overall well-being. In retrospect, you might realize that you didn't truly connect with anyone at the party, but you had not approached it with a preemptive mindset of negativity. Practicing not to base your judgment solely on your initial instincts and emotions is the most effective way to begin training your perception of life. Whenever you find yourself forming an opinionated view of something, challenge yourself by asking, is this a rational assessment? What factors have influenced my opinion? Is there a more positive or constructive way to interpret this? Marcus Aurelius emphasized that harms can only be harms if you consider them as harms. This means that any difficult experience you encounter will appear more challenging and detrimental the more you perceive it as such. Therefore, you have complete control over how much certain situations affect you. Additionally, Stoicism encourages you to view every adverse event as an opportunity for growth or a source of good. As an exercise in cultivating a Stoic perspective, there is a challenge called turning the obstacle upside down. Imagine that a new coworker struggles to learn quickly, and their mistakes negatively impact the company's profits. You might initially feel frustrated, perceiving this coworker as an obstacle to your goals of effectiveness, efficiency, and profitability. However, this situation can also present an opportunity for positive growth. It offers you a chance to cultivate patience, enhance your teaching skills, improve your approach to integrating new employees, and develop strategies for managing stressful situations. These skills will undoubtedly prove valuable in the future and contribute to long-term profitability. Marcus Aurelius famously stated, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. By adopting this mindset, you can navigate obstacles and turn them into stepping stones toward success. Instead of judging every situation in an exaggerated or overly negative manner, take the time to objectively assess things as they are. You might discover that life is simpler and clearer than you initially perceived. Every situation holds both positive and negative interpretations. By adjusting your mindset accordingly, you will find that life's challenges have less of an impact on you, and you will navigate the world with greater resilience and composure. Marcus Aurelius advises us to prevent our emotions from overriding our rational thoughts. He encourages us to stop acting in hypocritical, self-centered, and irritable ways. Acting out of emotion often stands in stark contrast to acting rationally, and for good reason. Nothing clouds our judgment more than our own emotions. Therefore, if you want to think clearly at all times, one of the most crucial skills to master is the ability to control your emotions. According to Marcus Aurelius, anger, in particular, does us more harm than good, contrary to what many people believe or try to do. Controlling your emotions does not mean suppressing them. When you feel intense anger due to a betrayal, you cannot control this anger by denying its existence to yourself or others or by pretending you're fine. It will still be there, no matter how deep down you try to push it. Instead, controlling emotions like anger, according to the Stoics, is done by redirecting them. So, the next time you experience anger, ask yourself what you can do with that anger. Yelling at the person who hurt you might seem tempting, but will it help you lessen your hurt or improve your situation? Will it help the person who betrayed you become better? In short, think about what you're tempted to do and then ask yourself if it's helpful. If not, find ways to express your emotions that are helpful. Perhaps you can achieve better results by calmly talking to the person who hurt you, explaining your feelings, and trying to see their side. You could also journal, take part in physical exercise, get lost in a video game, or do anything else that might help you let go of your anger. For another example, take anxiety or fear. You cannot simply push it down, but you can redirect it. Instead of letting anxiety paralyze you, you can use it to challenge yourself to take those actions that make you feel it and acknowledge its existence through it all. Let's say you're too scared to ask your boss for a raise. Many people see such fear as a reason not to do something, and they allow themselves to be stopped by their anxieties. Others might be able to go through it and regard their anxiety as something that is in the way and needs to be pushed down and ignored, but neither has to be the case. Instead, your fear is something that can be expressed healthfully and maybe even end up being helpful. For example, this fear makes you think about everything that can go wrong, which can lead you to consider all the possible questions your boss might ask and all the counterarguments you might get to hear. This way, you can brace yourself for them and form a plan for each possible scenario. But most importantly, the fear provides a positive motivation to go through with it, to challenge yourself and grow as a person, to prove to yourself that you can take the step, not despite your fear but partly because of it. And in that scenario, you can be aware of the anxiety throughout and think, how awesome that I'm trying this anyway. When you manage to redirect strong emotions with ease, you will become a calm person no matter what, and your emotions will never diminish your ability to think rationally and make smart decisions. Controlling your emotions is the key to a calmer and more fulfilling life. Marcus Aurelius famously stated, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The dichotomy of control is the distinction between what we can control and what we cannot. For example, the weather, traffic issues, or what people think about you are all outside of your control. But how you dress, what time you leave, and the kind of people you surround yourself with, that you can control. So, whenever you face a situation that makes you feel a certain way, ask yourself, what can I control? Whatever you can control is a reason to act. Whatever you cannot control, you should learn to accept and embrace without letting it affect you. Learning to distinguish between these two things and act accordingly can clear your mind instantly. A very important part of the dichotomy of control is amor fati, or love for fate. When you embrace life and all the circumstances it brings, you will always love life. You cannot escape fate or decide circumstances that are out of your control, but you can choose to love your life no matter what. If you find that you are rejected for a job you have wanted for years, you might think there is no redemption in such a situation. You wanted the job, tried, and failed. You couldn't possibly pretend to love fate in a circumstance like this. However, this is a misunderstanding. Instead of viewing the fact that you didn't fulfill your ambition purely as a negative, investigate what led to the negative result and use it to make a positive move. Either the reason you didn't get the job was a failure on your part, in which case this is something you can control. You can work on those failings and try again when a similar opportunity appears in the future. Or the reason was an external factor like nepotism or a personality clash with a member of the hiring staff. This was never in your control, meaning the opportunity never truly existed, and there's no point getting upset over something that has never existed. One part of accepting fate is distancing yourself from a fixed outcome and from external markers of success. If you want to be a writer, for example, and measure your success by the amount of sales your book makes, then you will let your success be controlled by the arbitrary book market of the time. But if you choose to measure your success by how satisfied you are with your finished product or by the amount of work you put into it, then you are in control of your success. So, by all means, make sure to do everything in your power to try and achieve your goals, but never forget that you might not achieve them, and accept this possibility in advance. If we occupy ourselves only with what is in our control and vow to accept everything that isn't the exact way it comes, then we will find ourselves being calm whatever happens. Embrace the virtues. Quoting Marcus Aurelius, delve deep within yourself, for a wellspring of goodness is ready to gush forth if you persist in your quest. A virtue can be seen as an excellence of character or, more simply put, morally upright behavior. Such behavior not only benefits you and those around you but also contributes to the greater good. Stoicism embraces the idea of an interconnected universe where everything and everyone shares a link. Consequently, what serves the greater good eventually benefits you as well. Thus, the Stoics firmly believed that those most in harmony with reason were the ones who dedicated themselves to the broader welfare. In other words, they practiced virtues. Contrarily, the absence of virtuous conduct is attributed to ignorance according to the Stoics. When life propels you into unforeseen circumstances, virtues can be your guiding stars, directing you on the right path and keeping you grounded. This is why individuals most enriched with virtue often emanate tranquility and composure. To embody virtuous qualities, one must internalize the four cardinal virtues of Stoicism: wisdom, justice, temperance, and courage. In the Stoic perspective, wisdom is the ability to distinguish between good, bad, neutral, and everything in between. It entails transcending the sway of emotions, allowing reason to govern what is morally just. Confronted with a dilemma, wisdom empowers you to analyze both options with a clear mind. Next comes justice. Wisdom is the foundation of justice, entailing a commitment to what is right and equitable for both oneself and others. The Stoics regarded it as a duty towards oneself, fellow humans, and society as a whole. Courage, the third virtue, enables action even in the face of personal fear. It propels you to act for the greater good or undertake tasks despite uncertainty about the outcome. Courage doesn't entail the eradication of fear, desire, or anxiety but rather the conscious decision to proceed, surmounting emotional barriers. Lastly is temperance, also known as moderation. Temperance signifies maintaining a balanced path between. Embrace a broader perspective in our concluding quote from Marcus Aurelius, who eloquently echoes Plato's wisdom: whenever you want to talk about people, it's best to take a bird's-eye view and see everything all at once. Adopting a wide-angle view is a remarkably vital aspect of achieving mental clarity in the hustle and bustle of life. We often find ourselves entrenched in the midst of every issue, each challenge feeling as if it carries the weight of the world. Imagine being part of a small crowd. It might appear as if the entire city is suffocating in congestion. Yet, shifting your vantage point just a few steps away can reveal an entirely different reality. In essence, when we detach and contemplate the grand tapestry of our world and existence, we realize how minute our personal experiences are and how infinitesimal we are in the vast scheme of things. This shift in perspective unveils the expansive realm beyond our immediate encounter. Often, people overlook the truth that their own encounters and viewpoints aren't the only ones deserving of consideration. Even within their own lives, consider someone who's had an unfavorable experience with dogs. They might find it challenging to fathom that dogs could be cherished companions to others unless they deliberately acknowledged the possibility of diverse experiences. From time to time, it's imperative to step back and inquire, what am I neglecting or failing to grasp? This introspective practice bears multiple benefits. For instance, envisage having to choose between remaining in your current job or pursuing a newly available position elsewhere. Such a decision might seem daunting, especially if you're uncertain whether either option will fulfill your aspirations. While your current job offers stability, and you're wary of the additional responsibilities tied to a promotion, the allure of a better salary beckons. You might feel ensnared within this dilemma. However, a wealth of untapped prospects lies beneath the surface. Have you contemplated venturing into a completely different field or exploring a side venture that complements your current job? Perhaps immersing yourself in a passion to shift your focus away from tasks you find less appealing. It's entirely plausible that numerous unexplored avenues in life are eluding your awareness. Adopting a panoramic perspective rather than fixating solely on immediate concerns significantly aids in informed decision-making. Broadening your scope isn't only valuable for determining priorities but also for shaping your opinions to form a comprehensive judgment. It's imperative to consider all facets and possibilities within a given situation. Moreover, stepping back signifies distancing yourself from personal biases and viewpoints. Temporarily relinquishing your desires can offer a fresh vantage point, prompting you to reflect on those around you and your responsibilities towards them. In the intensity of the moment, you might perceive an action like littering as inconsequential. However, when you pause and widen your perspective to encompass the entirety of the world and the potential consequences if everyone were to follow suit, the insignificance of your inclination to litter becomes starkly apparent in contrast to the well-being of the planet. As previously mentioned, the Stoic firmly believed in the interconnectedness of everything in the world, positing that the overall betterment of the world inherently contributes to one's personal well-being. Hence, taking a step back to embrace a global viewpoint rather than solely focusing on your own life holds immense significance. Confronted with a decision, adversity, challenge, or life-altering change, you have the capacity to pose introspective queries. Whether in the heat of the moment or later on, perhaps while strolling outdoors or during a reflective journaling session, an activity that Marcus Aurelius particularly advocated, these questions allow you to delve deeper into your thoughts and actions. You might think that in the heat of the moment, littering is not a big deal. But when you step back and think of the entirety of the world, of the possibility of everybody else doing it, you find the smallness of your desire to litter in comparison to the well-being of the world. As said before, the Stoics thought that everything in the world is interconnected and that the general well-being of the world improves your personal well-being as well. Thus, taking a step back and looking at the world as a whole instead of just your life is tremendously important. When facing a choice, hardship, problem, or change in life, you can inwardly ask yourself some questions. This can be in the moment or later on, perhaps when you're thinking through your day, whether out for a walk or when journaling about them, something Aurelius was a particular fan of. The most common questions to ask yourself are, what could the long-term effects of my choice or action be? How could someone else's perspective on this differ from mine? Do I know somebody in a similar situation or with similar goals in mind that could help? Does my choice or action affect my well-being? Does it affect? Thanks for watching.